Hello everyone, thanks for tuning in to today's video. Going to have a look at weather in 10 to 14 days for today's video. Day 10 will take us to the 10th of April and we'll be able to extend out beyond that with the excellent GFS and ECM ensembles. Maybe around a couple of weeks we'll have a look at the CFS V2 for April itself at the end of the video, so I shall get on back for you in a moment. Just say about the first video, say for 6 AM upload with also these channels Friday as well. Please check out those two vids if you'd like to do that. Like, share and subscribe on videos. I mean, thank you so much everybody for doing that. Right, so the central temperature is now at 6.9, 7 degrees, which is 1.2 degrees above average. Actually turned out to be a rather mild month, hasn't it? That's about very cold opening week 10 days or so. So not only have we negated the cold weather that we had in the first week 10 days, we actually obliterated it really, and we're now sitting at around 1.2 degrees above the 6.99 average. That's going to tick up again to another mild day today, so I reckon that will be at 7.0 or maybe 7.1 tomorrow, I would have thought. So around 7 degrees is where we're going to finish up for this March CT. Quite amazing how we've managed to really offset and defeat the cold snap. March 2005, kind of similar to this one, I think. Right, okay, so these were GFS upper air temperature and precipitation ensembles. Look at Newcastle underlying today. Red line is the 30-year upper air temperature average for Newcastle underline, not upon time, underline. And we see that we're above average at the moment. We're going to tick down over the weekend, but into next week, going average to a little bit above. We're just generally saying relatively mild then through to the middle part of April. A lot drier as well, so we've got the wet weather to contend with today and some showers tomorrow. But once that's out of the way, then we go significantly drier for several days through the first week of April. Maybe we'll get a little bit more unsettled later on into the middle of April. That's a long way off. That's a much drier ensemble than we've seen for a very long time, actually. So definitely drying out. Temperature anomalies in the next week from the 31st March to the 8th of April, coming out a little bit below average for England and Wales, a little bit above average for Scotland and the Northern Ireland. Most parts of Europe looking quite cold in the week ahead. And precipitation anomalies from the 31st of March to the 8th of April. This is a big change of what we've had recently. Drier than average in most parts of the country. Still a little bit on the average to western average side down the extreme southern part of the country. But I think that's mostly down to today. Once today is taken out of the forecast period here, I think we'll see the whole country drier than average when this updates tomorrow. Latest wind from that from earthandoleschool.net shows we've got an area of low pressure sitting over East Anglia right now to the south of that, pretty windy through the channel. And as that low clears away, we are going to actually pull in a bit of an easterly flow. That will make you feel quite chilly over the weekend, I think. And high pressure will start to build as well. So as we get through to the chart data, this is how things looking at midnight on Monday under an area of high pressure. Then, goodness gracious me, haven't had one of those for a little while. And that high pressure sticks around through the early part of next week. Low pressure gradually encroaching in from off the Atlantic. But it is a struggle, it's a slow old process. That's how we're looking to get to the second half of next week. A little bit more unsettled by then. High pressure's gone up to Scandinavia, allowed this low to break through. So, a little bit cool, a little bit showery. That's Good Friday, of course, 7th of April. Icon looks like that. Again, high pressure's in control of weather for Monday. That high pressure gradually being eroded by the low pressure in the Atlantic. However, the high pressure does make more of a fight of it compared to the UK Met. So this is Good Friday again next week. High pressure, Scandinavia, low pressure is out of the Atlantic. The winds are pulling in from like a southerly southeast direction. That's a drier and also rather warmer scenario, I think, with the icon model compared to the UK map. This time with GFS 6Z is looking again, high pressure dominating the weather on Monday. No, it's GFS midnight run, I should say. High pressure dominating the weather on Monday. High pressure remains in control of the weather through the early part of next week as well. Not much of an encroachment from the Atlantic like the UK Met was showing at the end of next week. Actually, the high pressure just maintained over Scandinavia. We are starting to pull in a rather colder easterly wind though, and as we move up towards day 10, Icon takes that high pressure a little bit further north, starts to bring in some quite chilly air from the east. The GFS midnight run does that, and then we go on into the extended range. We actually pick up quite a strong east or northeasterly with high pressure around Iceland. Low pressure is across southern parts of France and Spain, Portugal, coming those easterly winds. They are actually bringing in some quite cold air there with the GFS midnight run right at the extended range. Of course, it's all very unreliable, but the midnight GFS run does turn quite cold with the high pressure going out into the North Atlantic and keeping the wind in from a chilly north or northeasterly direction. Now, compare that with GFS 6 then, have high pressure again through the country on Monday, bringing a lot of dry weather with it. Throughout most next week, the high pressure is maintained, but not as far north. So this is Good Friday in a week's time. The high pressure sort of centred right in top of the coast. That should be very pleasant, I have to say. You know, you'd expect a lot of dry weather with that, and not overly cool. It might be a bit chilly by night, but in the April sunshine by day, as long as there is sunshine, in the April sunshine by day, that should be relatively pleasantly mild, I would have thought, into like below mid-teens Celsius maybe in the April sunshine. That sort of weather carries on right by day 10. This is the 10th of April, back on Monday, with high pressure again right over top of the country, bringing lots of dry weather. Could again be quite chilly by night, but by day, if we've got plenty of April sunshine, it should feel very, very pleasant. And those dry anticyclonic conditions carry on right way up to the end of the GFS 6, and nowhere near as chilly or as cold as the GFS midnight run was. Just that high pressure again sat over the top of the country. On the ensemble graph, we can see that the GFS 6 did become a warm outlier later on, and at various points it was one of the warmer options within the ensembles. Compare that to the midnight run, which was actually a bit of a cold outlier. So we're still having issues with the GFS. I'm off on a bit of a tangent with this, but I'll just quickly say we are still having issues with the GFS operational output. Since its upgrade in December, it has become a very extreme model, and by that I mean it is always showing some sort of outlier, you know, at some point, whether it's a cold outlier or a warm outlier, a wet outlier, a dry outlier. You know, it's always doing something that's a little bit extreme compared to the other ensemble members. So I don't know what they've done to the GFS since its supposed upgrade in December, but I think it needs another one. I think it needs another one pretty quickly. Anyway, if you enjoyed the video, please you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much, everybody, for doing that. Drop a comment, let us know what you think about this and all of our videos, and don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. Thanks so much, everybody, for doing that. We have reached 15.7k, by the way, everyone. We reached 15.7k overnight, so thank you so much for getting us this far. We're going to push on now to 15.8k, and the ultimate target, of course, is going to be 16,000 subscribers. Thank you so much, everyone. Right, GM, once again, showing a high pressure in control of the weather through the early part of next week. Around that, we could bring down cold northerly to northern and eastern parts of Europe by way. Been a very mild winter across eastern, southeastern Europe, but a little bit of a late winter northerly plunge there early next week. For us, we maintain a high pressure throughout the early part of next week, and the high is maintained actually into the Easter weekend as well. This is Saturday the 8th of April, Easter Saturday, again high pressure reaching from Scandinavia into the UK and Ireland. Eventually, high pressure begins to pull north and starts to allow something a little bit cooler to come in from the east. So not necessarily that warm for the Easter weekend, but could be a little bit, not necessarily that warm, could be a little bit on the cool side, but it should be having a lot of dry weather. We should be having a lot of dry weather over the Easter weekend. And then the ECM, again, showing high pressure in control of the weather through the early part of next week. gets nibbled out, it gets eroded out a little bit there around the middle of next week, particularly to the north and west with some show rain. The high pressure sort of builds back at the end of the week and into the weekend. So mainly dry, not quite warm weather into the Easter weekend. Could be some shower rain coming into the north and the west, but ECM is actually one of the warmer options, I think, for Easter with the position of the high pressure. So a lot of uncertainty from about Thursday onwards, a lot of uncertainty here about exactly where that high pressure is sitting and whether we get a warm Easter or quite a chilly Easter. This is a precipitation forecast based on that ECM run from Meteo.com. Of course, plenty of wet wind weather at the moment. Gradually through the weekend, things will be drying out. So by the early part of next week, we've actually gone dry under high pressure. And there is shower rain up to the north and northwest, but again, a lot of dry weather through the early part of next week. A little bit showery around the middle week, and the high pressure comes back later on, turning us mostly dry into or for the Easter weekend. These are the options on the table within the ECM ensembles today for daytime from the Icelandic Met Office. It gets us to the 10th of April. 23 members of the ECM ensembles have high pressure over to the northern country. It'll be mostly dry, but will bring in potentially a rather chilly easterly wind. 14, climate control and the operation room with high pressure much more centred over to the east of the country, with low pressure out to the west. Again, quite a lot of dry weather with that, but it is a warmer wind direction, with the wind coming up from a southwesterly direction. So that's the difference. This is quite a cool or even relatively cold option. This is a much warmer option. The majority option, though, for 23, is actually more easterly. So that's worth bearing in mind, I suppose, as we go to the Easter weekend. And then 14 just here have high pressure blocking to the north, but also extending a reach down western side of Europe. So despite the blocking area of high pressure, that should be mostly dry and relatively pleasant with the temperature. In 2 weeks' time, these are the options that we've got. Gets us to the 15th of April. 14 members of the ECM ensembles with high pressure outside to the north country. Again, should be quite a lot of dry weather with that. Winds could be coming in from an easterly direction. Got 13, high pressure more towards Greenland. That's definitely bringing in potentially quite a chilly easterly wind. 13 with high pressure bridging through western Europe. That should be a mostly dry and quite mild or even relatively warm scenario. Winds up from the southwest. And then 11 back to very unsettled weather with low pressure across the north and west Europe combined with high pressure around Greenland. That will be cool and very unsettled. So again, the position of the high pressure is going to be critical here. Then we'll see GFS lastly for April. This is the latest and final, actually, 700 millibar height anomaly for April. So it's looking with high pressure over the country, really, reaching through the country and up towards Scandinavia. It looks anti-cyclonic then. In April, the temperature anomaly predicted to be a little bit above average there. Not a big signal, but slightly on the milder than average side. And not much of a signal for precipitation either. We shall see. Right, we're done. If you're enjoying the video, then please can you like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everybody for doing that. Drop a comment. Let us know what you think about this and all of our videos. And don't forget to tell your friends about GavsWeatherVids. And thank you so much everybody for doing that. As I said, we just hit 15.7k. We're going to push on to 15.8k next. So yeah, please like, share, subscribe. Thank you so much everyone for doing that. May have an Easter update for you this evening, but I want to get a vlog done on my other channel. It is a year today since I had the operation to remove a mouth cancer from my tongue and also cut to the neck. So I want to mark that, you know, on the other channel. So I'm not sure about the Easter update. I'll see if I can get in or not. If it doesn't appear, then don't be overly surprised. Tomorrow, we're going to have 6 a.m. upload. We'll have the weekend forecast, have the ECM 42-day forecast for UK and for Ireland too. And there'll be a 10 to 14 day, so a busy day of content coming up tomorrow. Please keep checking back to the channel for more. But for this video, that's all for now. Enjoy the rest of your Friday afternoon, evening. And that's all for now. Thanks for watching.